Thank you for watching. This is exclusive content from the World Retail Congress 2017 here in Dubai, where I caught up with James Bidwell. Let's hear what James has to say. I'm now joined by James Bidwell, the CEO of Springwise. James, thanks very much indeed for joining us. You've done one session already at the 2017 World Retail Congress here in Dubai. We've got another session in a few minutes' time, so we won't keep you for too long. We have heard pretty much from every single session over the course of the last couple of days, and I'm sure today as well, about the need for newness, the need for innovation, freshness, doing things that challenge consumers, that make them view the brand in a different way, a more unique way. Yeah. So easy to say because everybody has said it, but fundamentally really difficult to deliver. So how do companies innovate? How should they innovate?
Well, it's a great question. Thank you, David, and thanks for inviting me on your program today. So what we're finding is that, as you say, that everyone is sort of obsessed with the pace of change, and the pace of change is so fast that it's almost impossible to keep up with it. So our sessions here at the Retail Congress have been all around how do you think about the future and how do you navigate that pace of change, how do you cope with it in a way that is enabling for the business. So our first part of the solution to that is all around innovation intelligence. And the Springwise service is dedicated to innovation intelligence. As you know, we search for the latest innovations via our 20,000 network of crowdsourced spotters all around the world, and we publish the latest innovations every day. So what we offer to these guys is a curated service of innovations. And that starts to be a basis for the innovation intelligence. So if you have a sensible and curated and edited way of understanding what's out there and what are the startups doing, what's the innovation ecosystem up to, and you have a kind of a series of cultural signals, if you like, that starts to get the innovation mindset embedded into the organization. And the second point, which is about today, is it needs to be at board level. It has to be CEO, CMO, Chief Customer Officer, Chief Digital Officer. These guys need to be starting the innovation process, committed to it, but at the same time, in retail businesses you have many staff, so you need to be helping them and educating them as well as the innovation process goes on.
Now, you've, through the scouts in all these countries, you're getting fed a whole series of innovations. Is the pace of innovation slowing down? You're getting less and less things day by day, you're getting more and more things day by day.
So we get around 100 ideas sent through every day from our spotters. Into our editors, and we publish the top 3. And I would say that actually the pace of change is getting faster. What we're seeing more, though, is we get more and more from universities, from design students, from the sort of, so the outliers even before they start businesses. So Springwise was kind of constructed around looking for the startup businesses, and now we're more in that kind of almost pre-startup phase where we're seeing these amazing ideas coming out of kind of weird places. So yesterday there was a design student in Tel Aviv who's come up with a way of cooking food in a washing machine. So you put your food in a bag and you put it in on cotton, 40 degrees, and you cook it's perfectly cooked.
That sounds ideal student life, actually, isn't it?
Exactly, but and it's using Tyvek and all of that stuff, and it's so. And it's probably, it's not going to be mainstream, but it's a very interesting way of saving energy, all of those kind of things that we look for, and we start to look at the circular economy and some of those themes coming through. So the pace of change is just like, and we look totally globally, so it can be less, for example, in coming out of Silicon Valley now, but more coming from outlying places.
One of the things that many people are talking about is this sort of fusion of innovative ideas, and actually the job of the companies now is to take pieces of innovation across different sectors and curate them together to create something very different and unique.
Absolutely. So my sense is that, and having worked in bigger businesses over my career, is that the sort of the true alchemy in innovation will be when when businesses really understand how to work with the big businesses, understand how to work with the small businesses. And we see a lot of kind of labs out there and venture funds and all of that. And my sense is at the moment it's not really connecting quite in the right way, because they're sort of more tactical than strategic, very, very strategic. And it's a bit like CSR was at the beginning. It's like, it's a bucket over there, we need to get on with the CSR program. We'll start doing that. But when like M&S started doing Plan A, that suddenly became integrated into the complete strategy for the business. And innovation is sort of on the way through to that. And that's why the sort of the enabling effect of the bigger businesses with the funding and the kind of the infrastructure, and then the smaller businesses with the agility and the new ways of working. I think once that fuses, then there'll be some very powerful forces for the future.
Now, you work with a number of companies, both sort of large and small, to help them innovate. Finally, what would you say the 3 top lessons are that people should take away in terms of what they need to do to make innovation within their organisations both successful and a catalyst for their colleagues to succeed?
So I think the first thing is to have the intelligence. So you've got to know what's going on there, and that's where Springwise comes on. The second is that it has to be at board level. So in order to you've got to have ownership at board level for these kind of programs. It's not and it's not just sort of delegated down to some guy who's in charge of innovation but hasn't really got a budget or all of that. It's has to be at board level is the second point. And the third point, which we're finding, and when we work with boards, is we take it out of business as usual. So we have something called a reset team, and we'll work on the strategy with the board, the innovation strategy, and then we'll say, okay, in order to make these happen, these ideas happen and bring them to market fast, we need to get them out of business as usual. We set up a team outside the board and outside the business and move it very, very fast in a very agile way, and then we put it back into business as usual. So it's really staying up to date, board level, and take it out of business as usual.
Wonderful. James Bidwell, thanks very much. We've been here for about 10 minutes. I think probably in your inbox you've got another 15 great ideas from around the world to sift through after this interview. James, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, David. Great to see you.
Thank you very much indeed for watching. This is just one of the interviews that we conducted at the World Retail Congress 2017 in Dubai, where we broadcast every night with an hours-long program. In order to see any of those programs or to watch any of the other interviews, just go to this website here. My name's David Roth from WPP. Thank you very much indeed for watching.